The training field outside the castle rang with the sounds of clashing swords and the shouts of young squires practicing under the bright morning sun. Among them was Peter, the youngest son of Lord Edward. Peter was clever and brave, but there was one thing he struggled with: his horse, Storm. Storm was a magnificent black stallion, powerful and fast, admired by everyone in the kingdom. But he was also restless, stubborn, and wild. Whenever Peter tried to ride him, Storm bolted, ignoring all commands. The other squires teased him, laughing. Peter cannot even control his own horse. How will he ever lead an army? Peter's cheeks burned with shame. Why won't he listen? He muttered. I pull the reins, I shout commands, but Storm runs where he pleases. One afternoon, after being thrown off yet again, Peter sat in the dust, holding his sore shoulder. His teacher, Sir Richard, walked over and helped him to his feet. My boy, Sir Richard asked gently, why do you look so defeated? Peter kicked at the dirt angrily. No matter what I do, Storm will not listen. I try with all my strength, but he ignores me. I cannot control him. Sir Richard studied him quietly and then said, Come to the stables tomorrow at dawn. I will show you something. The next morning, when the first light of sunrise touched the castle walls, Peter met Sir Richard at the stables. Storm stood there, tossing his mane, stamping his hooves impatiently. Sir Richard walked calmly to the horse, placed his hand gently on Storm's neck, and whispered a few words. Almost instantly, Storm grew still. Peter's eyes widened. How did you do that? He never listens to me. The knight smiled. Peter, let me ask you something. What is the task of a rider? To guide the horse and steer the journey, Peter replied. Correct, said Sir Richard. Now imagine this. You are the rider, your body is the carriage, and your mind and senses are the horses. If the horses run wild, the carriage will crash. But if the rider holds the reins with steadiness, the journey will be smooth. Peter frowned, trying to follow. Sir Richard continued, Storm is like your mind. If you pull too hard on the reins, he resists. If you let go completely, he runs wild. But if you guide with patience, firmness, and calm, he will obey. Peter asked quietly, So it is not only the horse I must control, but also myself? The knight nodded. Exactly. A restless rider cannot calm a restless horse. Steady yourself first, your breath, your mind, your heart, then take the reins. The weeks that followed became a turning point. Each morning, before riding, Peter stood beside Storm. Instead of grabbing the reins immediately, he closed his eyes, breathed deeply, and calmed his thoughts. At first, it was difficult. His impatience grew, his mind wandered, and Storm remained restless. But slowly, Peter learned to be still. The calmer Peter became, the calmer Storm grew. Then, one morning when Peter mounted Storm, something felt different. His hands no longer shook on the reins, his voice was steady, his heart calm. Storm neighed once, then began to trot smoothly. Peter guided him left, then right, then faster, and Storm obeyed. The squires stared in amazement as Peter galloped gracefully across the field, dust flying behind them. For the first time, it was Peter who was leading Storm, not the other way around. That evening, Peter ran to Sir Richard, his face glowing. Master, I did it. Storm listened to me today. Sir Richard placed a hand on his shoulder. Yes, Peter, but remember, this lesson is not only about a horse, it is about life itself. Your senses, your eyes, ears, taste, and desires are like wild horses. They will try to pull you toward anger, fear, or pleasure. If you let them rule you, you will be dragged into chaos. But if you learn to control them with wisdom, you will live with peace and strength. Peter bowed his head. So the real lesson was not just about Storm, it was about mastering myself. Sir Richard smiled. Well said. The great wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita says, One who controls the mind and senses is steady, like a lamp that does not flicker in the wind. Remember this, Peter. To lead others, you must first lead yourself. Years later, when Peter became a knight, people admired him not just for his bravery in battle, but for his calm judgment in times of crisis. Whether it was war, famine, or disputes in the court, he never let anger or desire rule his actions. His mind was steady, like a true rider guiding his horse with wisdom. And whenever he rode Storm, now older but still proud, villagers would smile and whisper, "Sir Peter has not only mastered his horse, but also his own mind." Moral: just as a rider must guide his horse with steadiness, we must guide our mind and senses. A calm mind leads to peace and strength in life.